G'day folks. Well, I've got both heads are on. They've been torqued to 70 foot-pound. They're actually, they did say in the pamphlet, and I did remember it was 80 foot-pound, and I'm just not real keen on sort of going to that torque figure. I think that because now we're running the studs, and the stud at the top of the nut is very fine, and you're going to get more, well, just for example, the original bolts are only 65 pound is sort of maxed out, and the bolt thread that goes into the deck is quite a coarse bolt, okay? So we're not getting a huge amount of clamping force on that, because the trouble is the bolt will just twist and it'll more or less seize up on the thread, because it just can't turn anymore. It's because of the coarseness of the thread, if you understand what I mean. Whereas the stud, you wind the stud in, finger tight they say, and you have a nut on top of the stud. So, but the nut and the thread is very fine. So they're saying 80 foot-pound, but my fear is I'm not worried about the nut and the thread on top. I'm worried about the actual stud pulling out of the deck, because that's a lot of force. You're going to get a lot more clamping force, and they want you to go up to sort of 80 foot-pound. Well, I'm a bit nervous about going to that, so hence why I went to 70. And even then I'm feeling that's about the limit I feel I want to give it. I mean, 80 foot-pound's not going to stop a blown head gasket at the end of the day. It's still going to push a gasket 100 pound, 200 pound. It's just what it is. So yeah, 70 foot's enough for me. Once I get it going, I've got to get it a heat cycle. I'll give it a couple of heat cycles over a couple of days. Just get it up and running for 20 minutes, half hour, 40 minutes. Get some heat, let it cool down. I'll do the same process again, and I'll leave it, and then I'll come back to a cold and I'll re-torque it, but I'll have to drop the header pipes off it, so I'll only put a couple of bolts in to start with. Then re-torque it back to 70 pound, and that'll crush, because the heads grow a little bit, the aluminium head, and what it's going to do, it's going to crush the gasket, but then when it cools down, you've lost that tension off your bolts, off your studs, just the whisker. I remember when I did it the first time round, and I've done it twice now, a little bit, I think there's 12 bolts, well there's 10 main head bolts, and I think there was about 7 or 8 that were sort of just need that little bit extra to get it up to the value. The others were fine, so it does need that extra torque down. Cast heads, you get away with it, they're fine, there's no trouble with them there. But that's the only drawback I'm finding with these aluminium heads, is it's a bit of a pain, but it is what it is, and for all the other benefits, well, it's a small price to pay, guys. I've got the fire going. I'll show you, guys. It's coming along, I'm getting excited again, guys. We've come into some really nasty weather. It hasn't been over cold, but we've had a lot of wind. You can probably hear it now. And we've had just sort of a showery sort of weather, but it's going to turn cold, guys. They're forecasting some snow around the 800 to 900 metre level above sea. So yes, it's going to turn on us. And this little fire is awesome, folks. It's a maxi heat. God, it's a ripper. It's chuffing away there. I love it. Alright, well, I did say in the other video, guys, what I was going to do with we'll call this the Stage 2 oil pump, or race prepping a Holden V8 oil pump. My intentions are, how I explained how I was going to go a bit further with this over that other Stage 1 race prep. Well, I'll let it out now. I'm actually going to drill these holes out, just that little bit. They're all 9/16. All the holes that sort of come out of the block from the pickup on that 120 bend all back through. Even going that main pressure side running up into the oil gallery, it's all sort of 9/16. Well, we're going to drill it out to 5/8, next size up. It's not too much bigger over the size. You can see them there, 9/16 here and 5/8. And we're just going to increase just the diameter, and we're going to spend a little bit more attention on this pressure side, getting a little bit more flow again. And that's the secret, guys, is getting that flow. The gears will pump like crazy. They'll shift the oil that's needed. It's the hole back is all the restriction is in the size of the hole. So on that first mod, I ground all the surfaces around the bends and tried to do a lot of blending, and that's what TK sort of done. Well, I'm going to the next stage, and I'm actually going to drill them out just ever so slightly and increase the diameter right through the whole pump. They've got a terrific intake. This needs a little bit of a grind through here because it actually interferes with the block off the motor. So we're going to just sort of do like I did in the other one, just do a little bit of grinding so we get great entry, and then increase the diameter, do all our little tricks to it to increase the flow on over the alloy style Holden oil pump. It's only a standard volume. I like the alloy because it's light. I've had no trouble with it, so I'm going to stick with it, and I love it. I love it. So I'll be showing you that in the coming vids, guys, when I get the car going again and get that sort of sorted and done and dusted. When it's all up and running, guys, I'll get the wheels on it, we'll get it outside, and I'll do a little video on it all, and we'll have a little look around at the tyres and yeah, have it running again, and we'll go from there. But then once that's done, we'll get stuck back into this engine, get it back on the stand, get into the pump, and I want to get that sort of done and sent back into the machinist so we can fit the cam bearings, because we're clocking them a little bit different. I did some research on that, and one guy commented that if you're looking at the engine, say front on, you clock the holes for the cam bearing feeds at 4 o'clock. And it makes sense, because as the cam's rotating, if it's at the 4 o'clock position, it's coming around, and the load's at the bottom, so you're getting that good feed of oil at the bottom of the bearing. Whereas originally it was 6 o'clock, and you've got a hole. So that's, to me, yes, it's feeding the oil, but it's not creating a nice solid surface for the camshaft to run on. So by clocking it around a little bit, you still get incredible feed, but you're going to get that film of oil and plenty of bearing for it to run on. So we'll go into that. I think we're going 2 thou undersize on that one too, so we can lift our pressure up a little bit there, and yeah, but I'll go into that, guys. So it's just an update. Cold weather's with us or coming, and I'm doing a little bit of tinkering and getting along with it all now, guys. It's over the worst of it now. We're just sort of getting it all back together, and oh, before I go, what are your thoughts on this, guys? What I did, I die grinded the manifold. This is actually a Holden Talker single plane, and I die grinded it all back, and this had all sort of what would you call it, like pollution, smog pollution, I suppose. I don't know if water went down in through here originally, but I've sort of cut it all out, and it's actually, there's a hole. It's like a single plane, guys. There's actually an air gap right in under there, and just sort of cleaned it right up. But then I clear coated it, and it was nice, but it's got fuel stains over it, and it's got quite grubby. So I'm actually thinking of going painting it black, clear coating it again, just so when it does get dirty and fuel stains, it's not so visible. What are your thoughts on that, guys? That's my little water trick out of the back of the heads. Yeah, so what do you think, guys? Just, yeah, I think it'll look okay. I think it'll actually look quite nice. So, yeah, anyway, I've got, like I said, I've got nice big aluminum rocker covers. You know, I've got the nice chromey carby sitting up there with all the sort of aluminium plumbing, and I thought, well, being this black, I don't think it'll look too bad. Yeah, give me your thoughts on it, guys. What do you reckon? Alright folks, well, I might keep chipping away with it, and I'll get these rockers on, finish them off. I'll show you that before I go. They're the Yellowterra Platinum rockers. They're really nice ones. A bit over $1,000 those. I think that was $1,200 I paid for them. Beautiful set of rockers though. 1.65 ratio. So, yes. Alright folks, well, I'll pop one up soon, and I'll catch you later.